Of the 10 3D printers you see in front of you, 4 of them are actually operational, and even those could use some work here and there, or I have big plans to change up some things about them. So I'm starting a new video series here on Mandic Labs, which is primarily a live streaming channel, and a bunch of these are projects we built on stream but never quite finished. The new series is going to be called RepRap Rehab, where we're going to take projects like this Trident that I never quite finished and take it across the finish line, or machines that need some love to get back up and running like my 2.4 over here and get them alive again. In this video, I need your help to decide where we're going to start this series off so I can show you the projects you want to see. A quick note on the live stream projects. They will be coming back to the channel in the not too distant future. I've got a couple of projects already planned. I just need to get a workbench because this corner of the studio is going to be the dedicated streaming space. That said, we have to pay for that, so thank you to studio sponsor PCBWay to help make projects like this possible, as well as YouTube members and Patreon patrons. With your support, we can keep on making fun content like this in these trying times. These projects absolutely vary in scale, from minor changes I want to make to major overhauls of machine that are basically new builds. So let's start at the top and work our way down. This is my Ender 3. It's actually the first 3D printer I ever got or used, and as such, I have a nostalgic spot for it. I had planned to convert it to an Ender 3 NG, the enclosed Core XY mod of an Ender 3, but I'm really leaning toward mostly leaving it alone and making it clear it's still an Ender 3. Maybe a new tool head on it, some new motors, and get it running on Clipper to get it a little updated to today, but mostly leave the DNA of it alone. Next up is my VZ235 from Mellow VZBot. I started building this on live streams, and it was a really fun project that got to the wiring stage, and I stopped to film, and then I had to move studios. Since then, I have converted it to a water-cooled VZ Hextrudort and the shorter version of the Goliath, since it's now water-cooled. Thank you, Simon, aka Vez3D, for sending over the parts to make that conversion. To go with that, I also added water blocks on the all-wheel drive motors and water block on the stepper drivers as well, so everything will be cooled by liquid. What's left on this? I've got to wire it still. I've got to get the panels on, the firmware configured. I also want to build a top hat. There is a great design on printables for a lift-up top hat, but it uses parts that aren't readily available here in the US, so I need to remix it a little bit to use parts that I can get. That's the large chunk of it, and water cooling, of course. But this could be a really fun project. I'd really like to be playing around with this little speed demon. I just got to get it finished. Coming up from the depths is ReAnimaker, my MakerBot Replicator that I designed a Core XY conversion for some years ago now. People ask about this fairly regularly, and really, I haven't done anything with it since I built it, took it to East Coast RepRap Fest, and then it's pretty much just sat. Largely because the toolhead could use a redesign. It pivots a little bit since it's not supported with 4 carriage bearings, so I worry trying to push speed on it's always going to be an issue. And I really think that it could use an updated extruder and hot end combo at this point. I'm thinking I have a Revo Roto around here somewhere, the compact E3D hot end and extruder combo. I think that would be great on this application. This would be a fun project to maybe do a little design talk with, where we could take the old files I have and update to use the Revo Roto. We could talk through some of my design process in that. Down here off the ladder, we have my favorite 3D printer that is looking so sad and neglected right now, my Voron 2.4. This thing, after a couple thousand hours of printing, really needed some love. During some live streams, we got the Chaotic Labs CNC kit installed with new bearings. We re-greased and cleaned up the Y-axis linear rails, installed a new X-axis rail. We got the top hat on here to gain some space for the CAN USB cable, as well as a Z umbilical mod on to get rid of the drag chains anywhere in here, and installed a multi-voltage power supply that allows us to run 48, 24, and 5 volts out of one unit. So I can run higher voltage for the AB motors and then use the other voltages for everything else in the machine. So what's left? Well, the thing needs a wiring cleanup for sure. Replacing that power supply prompted me to clean up a lot of messy wiring underneath there, and I just haven't gotten to it. The tool head's got to get installed. That's the A4T. That's allowing me to not lose any Z, X, or Y axis build volume, but run the high flow Fadis Dragon UHF hot end in there, and install the 24 volt chamber heater. It's just going to bring the chamber temps up for more consistent ABS and ASA printing. I really miss this machine and I want to see it back up and running soon. Next to the 2.4 is the Peopoly Magneto-X. I don't use this thing nearly as much as I would like to for a couple of reasons. One, the lack of enclosure on it. I would like to print higher temperature materials, but it's open. And the other is when it's sitting idle, the motors, the linear motors, make this whining noise that at least my hearing picks up, and it drives me nuts. Both of those I'm hoping will be fixed by putting an enclosure on it. Peopoly just sent the enclosure over for this machine. I also want to make a few other changes on it, like adding chamber lighting, maybe some filtration. I haven't decided on any other mods. If you have any recommendations for the Magneto-X, let me know in the comments, because I'd like to get more use out of this machine than I currently am. The last one on this row is my Trident 300 from LDO Motors. This is such a fun project. I really wanted this to be my Voron version of a VZ-Bot before I built a VZ-Bot. We built this on stream. I called it the Hot Rod Trident. It still needs a better name than that. It's running Double T's 9mm belt design on it, lightweight Physect linear rail. The toolhead is a Zoll toolhead, which is a very lightweight toolhead, and I continued the lightweight nature of it by using titanium hardware on almost all the screws. It's got a Volco MOSC with a sliced mosquito magnum and a CHP heater block inside of there for high flow. I've got dual auxiliary part cooling fans and 4028 server fans blowing on the motors to keep them cool. What I've changed since I stopped streaming this, I replaced the motors with Kraken motors, the high speed, high torque motors that are meant to run at higher voltages. So I'm actually running a 55 volt power supply in here, but I intend to overvolt just a little bit to push it a little harder. And I got around to doing most of the wiring in this build because I took it to the Voron Vice event here in Portland. When I wanted to have it there, I hoped to have it running, but I just didn't get it running in time. And this top hat thing that is meant to raise the top panel and gain just a little volume above it, I honestly really don't like it. And I wanted to redesign my own, as well as the chamber filter. But Nevermore Mini just does not fit together very well. I feel like that project was ambitious and just never went as far as it probably should have, unfortunately. So I'm looking for a different chamber filter design to put in here as well. I really want to be using this machine, and this is one that I'm highly looking forward to getting running. So love to get to this project sometime soon as well. Down here on the floor, we have the Eryone X400. This beast of a machine has just not seen enough love around here. I did a sponsored video with it last year and I enjoyed it, but there's a few things I'd like to change. What's great about it is it has CNC components for most of the motion system, beefy 4020 frame on it, a thick 10mm bed for the 400 by 400 build volume it has. It's limited to 400 on the Z as well, but I pushed it to almost 500mm on Z. I think with minor modification, we could get it to go all the way up to 500, if not maybe a little more. With that, what else I'd like to change is the tool head. It's got its own proprietary design, which uses their extruder design and their nozzle design, and those parts are available, but I'd rather run stuff that I'm familiar with and I like, and just have readily replaced nozzles with RepRap nozzles. So I want to convert this to a Reaper tool head, using 50-15 part cooling fans and a drop effect Next-G hot end with the ultra high flow adapter in it. Should provide plenty of flow for this size of machine and still be pretty reliable on part cooling. Eryone also released a add-on chamber heater for this thing, so I picked up one of those I want to put in here, and I'd like to get it onto mainline clipper as well. That's pretty much it. I think this could be a really reliable, useful machine. I just want to make a few changes to get it to where I'd be happy with it. A machine that deserves so much more love than I ever gave it is the Mercury 1.1. This is a Creality Ender 5 Plus. I did a whole video converting it to the Mercury 1, an aftermarket Core XY motion system design for this machine. But it's had firmware issues since day one that I've never fully been able to correct and drove me nuts, so I don't use it nearly enough. That said, since I built this, they've come out with a bunch of community mods and official Zero-G team mods for it that I really want to do. So this is actually the biggest project we're going to talk about today because it's a major overhaul. Things we're going to do on this machine: the Nebula frame. That is a full LDO kit frame for this machine from the Zero-G team. It allows for a more rigid, squarer structure, so we should be able to get more precise, accurate, and faster prints out of it, as well as enclosing it easily so we can print higher temperature materials with this. To go with that, I also plan to add a Qidi +4 chamber heater in here to help heat up the chamber. A big machine's gonna take a bit to warm up for those high temp materials. I don't expect it to be a high temp printer, but I do want to add some assistance to keep it consistent for those higher temp materials. When you go to the Nebula frame, you also have to convert to the Hydra bed system, which is a 3-point bed leveling setup using 3 Z-axis motors. I didn't do that in my initial build. I'm gonna have to do it now. Thank you to Fabrico for sending over a motor kit to make this possible, as well as other parts for this project in general. To go with the Hydra, there is a community mod for metal 3D printed arms that support the bed on the Hydra system. Studio sponsor PCBWay is currently metal 3D printing those for me, so I'm gonna have aluminum arms for the bed mounting on this and aluminum motor mounts that I'm having them 3D print as well for the Z-axis motors. If you want to get things printed in metal or plastic, CNC machining, laser cutting, or of course PCB manufacturing for your projects, your business, small production runs, check out PCBWay at the link in the description. Thank you to them for sponsoring Mandic Labs. Also with this, we're going to be doing the FMG community mod, which is a flat metal gantry. It's a plate metal design rather than CNC machined metal for the motion components. We're going to convert it to a 9mm belt setup as well. With that more rigid frame, we can pull better belt tensions then and really push speeds on this thing. To match the speed that the motion system will be capable of, we're going to run the VZBot toolhead so we can run the Goliath hot end and get some serious flow rates out of this machine to enable multicolor printing on such a big, fast machine. Yes, I do want to get multicolor printing on it. We're going to put the Magneto cutter design on here so I can run the Big Tree Tech VVD Vivid, their add-on clipper multicolor assembly. I want this to be my test bed for the Vivid, and I'd really like to play with it more, so I need to get this machine up and running. But it is a big project. And the one that's not the biggest project, but is the biggest project, my RatRig V-Core 500. This machine is fully functional as it is, but it's not enclosed. I can't print high temp materials on it, and I want to push more flow rate and speed out of it. I mentioned when I reviewed this on the Mandic Really channel that I had some issues with getting good input shaper graphs out of it, so I want to make a few changes. I'm going to replace bearings on it. I'm going to replace the X-axis linear rail, trying to see if I can improve my IS graphs. But I think I'm also probably going to step it up to 48-volt power on the motors, as well as installing the V-Core 4.1 upgrade, which comes with this steel X-axis gantry beam that the RatRig team sent over to use on this project. Thank you to them. The V-Core 4.1 upgrade also comes with a new CNC toolhead design that seems way more rigid and looks great, but it's not what I'm going to be running. I'm going to be installing a tube hot end from Luke's laboratory. It was provided to me by Northprint 3D at Rocky Mountain RepRap Festival like 2 years ago now, sorry. But I'm going to be installing that in a VZBot style toolhead. It's the third VZBot toolhead in this whole setup. Should be a little more rigid and a little tighter center of gravity. This machine is also going to get a new enclosure and a chamber heater as well, because like the Mercury 1.1, heating up this big of a chamber, I don't expect it to be high temp, but I think it's probably going to need a little help for those high temp materials to be consistent. I'd really love to use this machine more. 500mm build volume is excellent, but when I can only print PLA and PETG at the moment, it's a little bit limiting. So I need to get this thing updated, upgraded, so I can get more use out of it. Last but most certainly not least is one of my favorite machines, my Voron 0.1. I really love this little thing, but I built it years ago now, and it's long in the tooth at the moment. I never upgraded it to 0.2. It's got a lot of hours on it, so it could really use at least some maintenance work. It's got some loose bolts here and there. There's even some PETG parts that I printed back when I didn't have enclosed machines to print parts for this that could be replaced. I really like to update this to one of the printer for ant design frames that gets rid of the top hat entirely, like Box 0, something like that. Otherwise, I think I'm really just going to do 0.2 updates on this thing and just bring it back to life and get it to be another desktop printer again. I miss having a machine in my office, so I'd love to get this machine back up and running and in there for quick prototype prints. All right, folks, sound off in the comments and let me know which of these projects would you like to see me tackle first. I know I have my ideas, but I want to hear from you. Let me know. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I hope you found this interesting and you come back to check out the episodes of RepRap Rehab as we dive into these projects in the coming weeks and months. Thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring Mandic Labs 2.0 and to Patreon supporters and YouTube members for helping to keep the lights on around here. I appreciate you folks. Get subscribed to ensure your 3D prints don't fail. It's not a guarantee, but it can't hurt. See you, folks.